Everybody. Thank you for getting logged into the last day of our emergency response program webinars. I do have a poll issued right now, so we would love your responses to that poll if you haven't done so already. Before we get started, just a few more announcements. I wanted to let everybody know that some of Generator's other programs in Indiana are getting ready to get started over the next few months. So I wanted to quickly share some information about both of those. The first one is our G Alpha 5G program. This is a program for people who want to explore coming up with an idea or invention around 5G technology. It's a 4-week free program where we, alongside with the Indiana IoT Lab, Verizon, and AT&T, will help you come up with an idea of a new 5G technology invention, and then you would be able to test that invention for free through the IoT Lab and the 5G Zone. So if that's something that you're interested in participating in, again, it's free and it's running through the full month of May. You can shoot us an email and we're happy to get you more information about that. The other two programs that we have going on later this year are our G-Beta Indy and G-Beta Ag Bioscience programs. This is a 7-week accelerator program for early stage tech companies that are looking for venture capital. If you fit into that bucket and would love more information, please send myself or Cole an email and we're happy to get you signed up for those. So before we proceed, we want to give a quick thank you to our partners and supporters in running this emergency response program. The Indiana Economic Development Corporation, thank you so much for being our biggest supporter. We couldn't do it without you. And then Goot Wine Law, M Accounting, and the Weber Co. Thank you all so much for your support. Today, as every day, you can answer questions, ask questions using the Q&A box. So all you need to do is click Q&A on your screen, and then you can type in your answers or your questions there. Any unanswered questions will be sent to the speaker to answer if we don't get to them. So please make sure that you don't ask your questions anonymously so we can make sure we get back to you. If you're having any trouble with the Q&A feature, you can send an email to cole@generator.com during the webinar with your questions, and we'll try to make sure we answer those as well. If you do have any technology issues during the webinar, unfortunately, we are not able to help troubleshoot with those just due to the number of people on the webinar today. So you are welcome to reach out to Zoom directly if you have any trouble, or we will also be recording the webinar and share it with all of you afterwards. So you can always listen to the recording if you miss part of it or are having any technical difficulties. Okay, so without further ado, I want to introduce Steph Weber from the Weber Co. And she's going to talk to you all today about mindset and online marketing. Steph, you can go ahead and share your screen now if you're ready.
Awesome. Okay, great. Thank you. I'm super excited to be here, and I just appreciate everyone's time this morning and being able to share, and look forward to sharing or doing Q&A at the end. Can everyone see my screen? Chelsea, can you guys see this?
Yes, we can.
Okay, just wanted to make sure. Okay, cool. So we're going to go ahead and dive right in this morning. So basically, I put together some different mindset techniques and also marketing strategy specifically for small business owners. I am also a small business owner, and I know that right now is a scary time, and we're trying to figure out what our next steps are going to be and really how to stay in forward motion and stay afloat during this time. So want to chat a little bit about mindset and how that makes sense and works for what it is that we're trying to do right now, and just pushing forward and staying positive with our businesses, but also how we can reach our audiences in new ways. So I am a very type A personality. I like to go into everything with a plan. So today's plan, I wanted to just take some time to introduce myself, tell you a little bit about my story and why small businesses are my passion, chat a little bit about the current situation, mindset, marketing, and then do a Q&A. So the short version of my story, I grew up in Indianapolis. I graduated from Center Grove High School and went on to Butler University to study PR and advertising. In the summer of 2010, just before my senior year of high school, my family lost our small business. My dad had a tool and die shop downtown Indy, and it was forced to close its doors, forcing our family also into personal bankruptcy, which meant that my family had no money to be able to send me to school. Unfortunately for them, I had already decided that Butler was where I was going to go. And I remember very distinctly, very vividly, a conversation with my mom. And she was like, Steph, we don't have money to send you to Butler. I'm sorry, but it's not going to be possible. It's not going to happen. And I just kind of said, you know what? Butler is where I know I need to be. It's where I know I want to have my collegiate career. So I'm going to make it happen. So I worked 3 jobs throughout my entire school career at Butler, and graduated cum laude in 2015. So that was definitely a big piece of my story, and a big piece of persistence for me. And whenever the world seems to be telling me no, I find my way to say yes. And so we're going to dive into that a little bit with mindset. But just so you have a brief background on my story, I've worked in the fashion industry for 10 years now, always with small businesses. So usually it's always been like some kind of husband wife duo team. And I work very closely with them. It's usually the owners and then me. And we work on marketing and strategy and a lot of different things, because obviously in small business, you wear a lot of different hats. So that's a little bit about my background in terms of career in school. I transitioned from Trendy and Indie to the Weber Co. So I started my own brand back in 2016. I was focused on promoting mostly local fashion businesses within the Indianapolis area through my first brand, Trendy and Indie, as an influencer, and realized at some point that I wanted to serve in a bigger and better way, and really be able to utilize my skills around branding to help others and to help others grow and be able to share their own stories. So I love branding, and I'm passionate about that specifically because I genuinely believe that every story matters and every business owner has a story to share. And no matter how saturated an industry may be, we need you, and everyone has a relevant space in this world. So let's chat a little bit about the current situation of what's going on in the world today. First of all, here's what I know about you. No one else can serve like you can. No one else has your unique stories, your unique point of view, your creativity, or your experience. There is no one else exactly like you. And that is why it's so valuable to have you in this space and to be able to offer your gifts, your creativity, whatever it is that your business may be offering. You're an entrepreneur, and at some point you've already had to be innovative. This is a time to be innovative. In fact, there's so many good things about what I'm seeing right now. Small businesses figuring out new ways to reach their audience, small businesses trying new things to be able to just continue to make money and to stay afloat right now. We are being forced to be innovative more than we probably ever have been. And when we do new things with ourselves, that opens new doors and new opportunities. So if anything, during this time, I see the opportunity and how we can all walk out stronger on the other side. But those of us that figure out how to position our businesses for success in the long run, instead of just being like, well, maybe I shouldn't launch, maybe I shouldn't sell, maybe I should just give up now because nobody wants this, and telling ourselves that, basically limiting belief, we're going to come out stronger on the other side. If we're like, you know what, I understand what's going on, and here's what I need to do in order to really serve my people right now. A few mental shifts that I want you to consider as we kind of walk through this morning, and also in your daily life and your daily activities of what it is that you're doing. We have a tendency to ask, why is this happening to me? Like, why am I going through this? Why am I battling this? What is going on? Like, why? What if you rephrase that as if to say, why is this happening for me? Because even hard things, even this time of challenge, can be for us and can allow us to adapt and can open new doors and can help us see things differently than we did before. So, what does this look like? It's all about your perspective and the way that you choose to look at the situation in front of you. And trust me, this is a daily, I like to remind everyone, mindset is a daily effort. It is a conscious daily choice that you make to look at things from a different perspective and to choose to go into your day feeling on fire for life, or whatever that needs to look like for you. But it's a conscious choice. It's not easy every day because there are hard things that happen. But it is something that if you choose to see things from the perspective of how am I going to move forward, and how can this be for me? It's much different than, oh, why is this happening? And living in that victim space. So let's chat a little bit about control. Like I said, I am very type A. So I like to be in charge and I cling to the known. I cling to like, okay, I know exactly what's going to happen tomorrow. I know exactly how much money I'm going to make this month. I know exactly, like I have it down to a science, and it's very strategic. In times like this and what's going on in the world, it feels like things are much more out of my control than I would prefer that they be. And I have to figure out how to adapt and pivot to that. So here are 3 different things I can control: my attitude about how I go into my day, about how I go into a pitch, about how I go into anything with my clients. I can control my attitude. I can control my effort and my reaction. I can control how much effort I am putting into a new program, how much effort I'm putting into serving my community right now and really helping. And I can control my reaction of when I see something on the news or I hear about something that may be difficult or put me in a difficult situation. I can release control of what's not in my hands, because that does not serve me. It does not serve my community to work from a place of fear or limit. And I can also control my next steps. I have to keep moving forward because there are no other options for me as an entrepreneur, and I'm not going backwards. So the only thing that I can do is keep moving forward. And I saw something on Instagram the other day, and it was like, people keep talking about things returning to normal, quote unquote. We may never get back to the normal that we knew existed, but that may not be a bad thing. We are finding new ways to reach our people right now. We're finding new ways to be able to connect. I have a virtual game night scheduled with my friends on Saturday. Like, we are doing new things that we've never tried before. And this is going to open a lot of doors and change what our definition of normal may look like. I want to chat a little bit here about limiting beliefs. I prefer to call these lies that we tell ourselves, and we all have them, no matter if you know them consciously or they're a little bit more subconscious for you. A belief that comes up for me quite a bit is I'm not capable. That belief comes from being a dancer for 17 years and being put in the back row, and nobody took the time to really pour into me in the way that I needed until I switched dance studios to a much smaller studio, a much smaller intimate group. And the owner of that studio pretty much made it her personal mission to make sure that I was getting the training and the attention that she felt I deserved, that I had never been given before. So this limiting belief of like, oh, I don't know if I'm capable of achieving that or doing that or educating or whatever that may be for me. So I have to first acknowledge the belief and understand what that looks like. I have to know what fuels the belief so that I can work to minimize that belief and develop habits and behaviors around when that comes up for me. Okay, no, Steph, like, what's really going on for you here? What is that deeper level that's really happening inside your head, instead of just this like, okay, I'm not capable. Right, but what does that mean? What is it that you're really worried about instead? So being curious instead of belittling, like, what's wrong with me? Why is everything so hard? Becomes, okay, this feels challenging for me. I wonder why this is. It's a lot of that deeper introspective work that comes up, and you have to just be aware of these beliefs that come up for you. Things right now might be, well, nobody wants to buy what I have to offer, or I'm not going to be relevant after this virus is over because the economy is going to crash, et cetera, et cetera. Well, here's the deal. You have to also go to, all right, what are my known facts right now? What is this really look like for me? What is true versus what is being made up in my mind? What's like the story that I'm really telling myself here? You have to create habits around these beliefs when they do come up. So I'm going to share a little bit about what this process looks like for me as it pertains to my morning routine. One thing that I do with all of my clients that walk through my program, we actually start with personal story, and then we go into developing habits and routines around things that have been difficult for us and around these limiting beliefs. Like I said, I call them lies. So I don't necessarily use the term affirmation statements. I prefer to use the term truth statements, because I believe that that's what they are. All of us have stories that we've made up in our heads about why we're not capable, why we're not making money, why we feel we're not valuable, whatever that may be. We have to uncover what those stories are, where they came from, and identify them and turn them into what our truth actually is. Well, it's not that I'm not capable. I'm very capable and I'm very knowledgeable in what I do. So, okay, great. how do we form the truth statement around that and shape it into routine throughout my day when those limiting beliefs do come up for me. So a few different things that I utilize as success habits in my daily routine. Mornings are pivotal and essential to your success. And I can share this honestly because when I was living in Indy, I was getting up and I picked up my phone right away, and immediately I'm responding to what everybody else needs from me. I'm not taking the time to allow my brain to wake up. I'm not taking the time to really focus on what it is that I need to do for my day. I'm already in reactive mode right off the bat. We moved to Arizona and I'm like, okay, you know what? New environment, new space. We need to shift some things around. So I get up an hour earlier than I normally would every morning. For me, this looks like 5:30 a.m. I read my goals, and these are generally in the form of letters that I've written from my future self. This is all this work that I'm doing. So this may not resonate with all of you. I understand that, but at some point as an entrepreneur, everybody has goals. So I have my 2020 goals. I have them written as if they've already happened. So that way I'm just making sure that my mindset and my brain is understanding this is what we're going towards. This is what's going to happen this year. I sit and I stretch. Stretching is obviously important for me as a dancer. It's also a time where I can just kind of breathe and prepare for my day. I drink water in the morning. I listen to those truth statements that I've recorded for myself. And I watch a motivational video. If you're interested in that, I can have Chelsea send it out. It's extremely powerful, especially in times of doubt and in times of challenge. Wellness is critical for your success, especially throughout your day. So I drink 70 ounces of water per day. The recommended amount is basically half your body weight in water a day. I drink more than that, but obviously we live in the desert now, so things are a little bit more dry out here. And I eat foods that nourish my body. Instead of reaching for chips, I'm trying to reach for apples or carrots or whatever is going to really help fuel my body and energize me for my 16-hour plus work days. Exercise. I'm moving my body in some way 30 minutes a day, and I'm making this a priority. Even if I have a million things on my priority list, exercise and moving my body for me has to come first. And that has to be a top priority so that I can say, okay, I can feel a little bit better about sitting at my desk for so many hours a day because I've moved my body and I've given it the energy and the exercise that it needs in order to perform throughout my day. So my question for you is, what's one thing that you could do right now and commit to start your day off in a positive way? This could look like a lot of different things for you, but what's one thing that you could do, you could try to start doing right now and implement? Some people like to journal in the morning. Some people like to meditate. Some people like to practice gratitude, whatever that needs to look like for you. Just starting your day off where you're taking control of your day before you're letting everybody else demand all of the things from you. I included some additional resources here for you. These are books, they're apps, they're meditations, they're a planner that I use. So several different things that I have used to help my mindset as it pertains to money. I know that a lot of us have this maybe limiting belief or are living in a space of limit right now when it comes to money. You Are a Badass at Making Money is a book that I highly recommend. It's one that I read at the beginning of my entrepreneurship journey to the Weber Co. So definitely one that I would encourage you to check out in terms of money mindset. I want to move this conversation to talk a little bit about branding and marketing and how this all works together and how you can really reach your audience in a new way right now. So first and foremost, why is branding critical? Branding is how you're perceived in the marketplace. If you're unfamiliar with what branding really means and what that looks like, branding is the step that you should be taking before you try to market to your audience. Before you're trying to sell them anything, you need to have an established brand that is recognizable in the marketplace so that people understand who you are and they can go, oh, for example, the Weber Co. Oh, the Weber Co. Steph always is telling us, she's always calling us rock stars. I use 80s language for my brand. I don't know why, but it's just something I do. I think for me, it helps me connect to my audience in a more relatable, real way. So Steph's always saying that, and she's always telling us that our stories matter, they're relevant and that we're important. And she's educating us on how to actually build a brand and share our story with our audience and allow them to be invited into our space and how to position ourselves so that we can understand how our products are needed in the world and how our audience can understand that as well. So it's what people are saying about you when you're not in the room. It's that impact. It's how you're going to be remembered. I like to say branding is your legacy. Your brand is how people are going to remember you. They might remember your ad, but they're going to remember the ad and how it made them feel. And that made them feel part is your brand. It's your brand message. So I love Seth Godin. I think he's an expert in this space, in this industry. So a quote from him: a brand is a set of expectations, memories, stories, and relationships that taken together account for a consumer's decision to choose one product or service over another. And that's very true. Branding, when you have a well-established brand, that brand makes people feel something. It's why I choose to buy Charmin over other brands out there or whatever. I mean, you can use it in the simplest terms, right? But it all goes back to how you make people feel and how you're perceived. So branding is who you are. It's the foundation where you build credibility with your audience and you help them understand why you exist. Now more than ever is a critical time to be building brand awareness. Some of us are maybe afraid to launch, or we're like, okay, we've got to get a new offer out there. That's awesome and so relevant. But you also need to be making sure that you're not just pushing messages of sales. You want to make sure that you're pushing messages of service as well, and how you're really leaning into your audience, not just like buy this, buy this, buy this. That messaging doesn't resonate and it gets old very quick. Marketing is how you build the awareness. It's the way that you share the brand's overall mission that ultimately boosts sales. So this is your social media tactics, your email marketing, your text message marketing, whatever avenues that you're using to help build that awareness, but you have to have the brand first and the message behind what that looks like. So I have 4 questions for you, just to kind of think about right now. You have an incredible opportunity to serve your audience and community in a new way right now. And I have some examples of how you can do this for a few different business types. Number 1 is, who is your audience? Who are they really? And I don't just mean like, oh, well, it's like the people in my local community. No, I want you to get really specific. Who is the very specific avatar that you focus on? Is it a couple, a married couple? Let's say you have a restaurant, and you focus on maybe young professionals. That's who your target demographic is. You have a really cool vibe that when they come in, it's very welcoming, it's very chill, it's relaxed, it's a place where people can go to escape. They can also go to socialize and drink and eat or whatever that needs to look like for you. Get very specific in who that avatar is and the problem that they're experiencing. Okay, so what is that like deeper level problem? Going back to my restaurant example, okay, yes, everybody is like, okay, I want to go out on Friday nights and I need food, right? Like that's the very surface level problem. Okay, well, the deeper level of that is, I really want to go to a place that has a cool vibe, that feels welcoming, that's clean, that's like just different than another just like boring restaurant down the street or whatever that may look like, right? So they're leaning into like, I want to be different, I want that cool vibe, I want something that's trendy or whatever. Okay, so question 2, why do they choose to come to you? Why do they buy your products or pay for your services over everybody else? This is all about how you're positioning yourself. There are a million restaurants they could choose from. There are so many different brick and mortar stores. There's so many different brand coaches, just from my perspective. So why is it that people are choosing me over everything else that's in the marketplace? Question number 3, what do they need right now? What are they experiencing? What is your avatar really struggling with during this time of challenge in our world that we're experiencing on a global level? What do they need right now? How can you serve them? Like, what are they dealing with? And where do they hang out online? This is extremely critical in trying to reach people in a digital space. Where are they hanging out? Where are they most accessible? Where can they expect to hear from you? And be reminded that you are still a relevant brand that's pushing through this challenge and that's coming out stronger on the other side. So this may look like several different areas. It may look like Instagram or Facebook or Pinterest or text or email, depending on what your audience is and where they actually are. So I have a few different examples that I want to share with you in terms of how you can actually reach your audience right now. So first up is the example of the local restaurant or winery. So what would it look like for you right now, going back to that need? What is it that people need right now? Well, people are at home, they need meals. People obviously are still eating, they still need food. What would it look like if you did some kind of a meal or wine subscription? Do you have the capacity to handle this? If yes, what would it look like for you to contact your frequent customers that are always in there every weekend? Maybe they're in there multiple times a week, whatever. Send DMs on Instagram to local people. It's very easy to find, obviously, locals, or just your follower list. What would it look like for you to go, hey, we're offering 3 meals a week. Here's the price point. Are you interested in subscribing to this right now? You do it for a month. You do it for the month of April because it's looking like that's where we're all going to be at the end of this month. What would that look like for you? Or if you're a winery, what would it look like to do 2 bottles for the month or something along those lines? Whatever this needs to be for you, take it and make it for your customers. But there are different ways that you can reach them and meet their needs right now. Some other ideas and offers that I thought of for you. You could do a text club when you're available to be open again. You have a list of people that are on your text club. You can reach them and say, hey, we're open. We're excited to celebrate. We're doing 20% off, or we're doing a free appetizer with your meal tonight. Whatever that may be, that's a great way to reach them. Then right now you could do, hey, here's our recipe for this, or here's something that we thought you would love, through text. Like, this is really easy to do. It's like people are looking for new recipes. I know my husband and I are right now. We're looking for new drink ideas. There are so many different things that people are trying and experimenting with because they're at home and they're bored. So how can you entertain them and serve as a need to meet them right now as the brand? Email list. You can also do the same as above. Can you build an email list? This is very simple to do. You can use a landing page, build out your email list, ask people to sign up in exchange for a free recipe or in exchange for a meal plan, whatever that needs to look like. Just help them right now, serve them in some way. Other things that you can be doing right now, you can be asking for reviews, especially from those locals that you know are eating with you every night, dining with you every night, whatever that may look like. You can ask them for reviews right now. Reviews are so pivotal for Facebook, especially. Yelp, I don't personally use the Yelp platform, but I know that so many people do. But anywhere that you could be reviewed, ask your customers to do that right now. You can reach them through text, through Instagram, through email, and just say, hey, we would really appreciate your support right now and just leaving a review. We know that you have been here before. Go through your tagged photos on Instagram. Who has obviously been to your restaurant or winery before? Live video is another really important way that you can be showing up right now for your people. And this goes for any business out there, whether you're on Instagram or you're on Facebook. I personally find live video to be more pivotal on Facebook in reaching audiences because Facebook is pushing that as a way to reach people. So I recommend that platform for that. IGTV is a really great space to be able to just produce video content in general. But what are you doing right now? How are you just, like, honestly, just show up for people and share with them what you're doing, how you're making it through this, what you're doing to survive, how you've shaped your business in a new way, how you're reaching people, how you're serving your community right now. And just showing those things and being real on live video. It does not have to be this well-produced, super high quality production thing. When I show up live, it's very genuine. It's usually in my backyard in my hammock, and it's just very honest and open conversation. And that's what people are craving. People are craving those moments of, okay, wow, I can like really lean into them. Wow, the owners of this restaurant or winery are on here right now. This is really cool. Like, I feel like I have a personal connection with them right now. We're craving connection. The next example I have is for the brick and mortar shop owners. So this is a little bit of a community engagement campaign that I came up with for you, depending on what kind of shop, brick and mortar shop you may have. But what would it look like for you right now to reach out to your customers or your social media followers, encourage them to use some kind of a branded hashtag and provide a discount or a give back or a giveaway, something for posting and using that hashtag. Maybe you do a giveaway for a gift card, and you're saying, hey, we're going to do a giveaway for a $100 gift card. All you have to do is like this post, tag 2 friends, and make sure to share a photo using this branded hashtag that we've created for you. Or maybe you're going to do a give back. I know I've seen this on TikTok, which is this new weird space that I'm still trying to figure out. But brands are doing, for the first 1,000 videos that use this branded hashtag, we're going to donate X, Y, and Z. Now, obviously, that may look different for you, and you can take that and mold it to your business, but people are all about being able to give back and to just serve in some way right now. Other ideas, could you do a subscription service? Maybe you're a boutique and you have inventory that you need to just keep moving. Could you do a subscription service for people right now? A good example of a company that does subscription services is Evereve. If you are not familiar with them, they offer a product called Trend Send, and it's basically a monthly membership. It can be monthly, it can be every 3 months, whatever. But even after we make it out on the other side of what's happening in our world right now, your subscription service will still be relevant for people, and people will still love getting a delivery to their doorstep of hand-picked outfits that you've styled for them in this subscription service. You could also do this for candles. I mean, there are so many different options that you could do this subscription service for. Could you do a membership of some kind, whether it's on a Facebook group or it's inside of a teaching space or whatever? Could you do some kind of a paid membership right now that would help you be able to reach your community that they find value in? Has to provide value. Obviously, they're giving you money, so you have to provide something for them. It can't just be like, oh, join this Facebook group and we never post. So doing some kind of a membership in that way. Also, asking for reviews, as I mentioned earlier, is hugely important right now. Maybe you could do themed days or weeks right now on social media and just share, hey, like everybody's working from home. Here's our work from home style. Or let's say you have a home decor shop, brick and mortar shop. You're sharing home decor in different rooms throughout the week. Something along those lines that is themed, that engages people in a new and different way. Could you build out a loyalty program right now? For people who are shopping and who are continuing to support you, how could you support them in some kind of a loyalty program? Spend $100 in April, get $10 to use next month. I don't know, something along those lines. The other thing that you could be doing right now is building a Facebook group. If you don't already have one, Facebook groups are huge. They're important, and they're a really great way to reach your community and your audience. So let's say you have an email list. You could send out your link to the Facebook group in that email list and invite people to be a part of that community where you're showing up live, you're encouraging conversation, and you're being there for your people right now. All right, for the salon owner, there are a few different ways that you can reach your people right now as well. What would it look like for you to create some kind of an email community or a group community in some way? So whether this is on like an email marketing service like MailChimp, or you could do also a Facebook group. But the opt-in example that I have for you would be some kind of a teaching area. Using this time to share tutorials, whether they're braid tutorials or you're telling people how they can make their color last longer at home, whatever that may be, but you're using it as a space to teach. Content is king, and I have this in here because content is so important, and right now, people are bored at home. They are absorbing content all day long, and people are creating content. This is why I'm giving you examples of using branded hashtags and so forth, because people have the time to do this. Other ideas that I have for you, could you do product delivery? I know an esthetician in Indy who obviously is out of work right now, but she is doing online skincare consultations, and she is hand delivering products to people because she has product on hand. So she's just taking it to their door and leaving it for them. Could you offer that right now? Could you offer to send people samples? Still staying top of mind, but you have these samples that you could easily send out in the mail or whatever, and just say, hey, just wanted to send this gift to you. Hope you're doing well. Just wanted to be thoughtful, especially for those customers that you have and you want to make sure that you keep even after this is over. Again, some kind of a membership for you where you would be offering teaching, or you could offer to serve them or add value in some way, but a membership service of sorts, asking for reviews. You could also do your themed days or weeks. And of course, you can think about your loyalty programs as well. I know that so many different salons do have those loyalty programs. So maybe it's buy a gift card right now and get a free haircut next month, or I don't know, whatever that needs to look like, 50% off, or a free product or something for you. At the end of the day, you cannot successfully market your business without having a clear brand identity. Your brand is the solid base which you create your marketing messages and your strategies. You have to understand and control how your brand feels, sounds, and what it looks like in order to create consistent, powerful marketing messages that captivate and convert your people. And that's pretty much the bottom line of how branding and marketing go hand in hand, and why it's so critical, especially right now, to not shy away and not be like, ooh, I don't know how to show up. I don't know what to do. I don't know what's going to happen. No, show up. You can share that you don't know what's going to happen, but you can also share, here's what we're doing right now to really help you and to solve a need that you are experiencing right now. So that is what I have for you guys today. And I know that we're going to open this up for Q&A. Am I right on that, Chelsea?
Yep. So if anybody has questions, go ahead and put them in the Q&A. We'll give it a couple minutes. Thanks so much, Steph. We really appreciate your insight. And if anybody's interested, Steph also has an amazing program called Brands That Captivate, which can help work with her one-on-one and in groups to build out your brand and learn more about what she's talking about here today. So if you're interested in that, let her know. You can always shoot her an email or send me an email, and I will connect you. So get in any questions that you have, and we will answer them. I have a question, Steph.
Yes.
What recommendations would you have for a service provider, maybe like a plumber, contractor type of organization that maybe has never even tried anything online, social media or otherwise before?
That's a really great question. And honestly, there's huge opportunity for those types of like service oriented businesses right now. First and foremost, I would say create the account. Secondly, I would say start building your audience in terms of, okay, who's local in your community who really needs your services. Again, developing that audience avatar and making sure that you're seeking those people when you build out your social media. But for a plumber, for example, I mean, obviously it's a different kind of job. So you're thinking, okay, how can I really show up on social media for people? Well, maybe you can share stories of families that you have helped. Maybe you can use humor to engage your audience right now. I mean, there are so many different ways that you can really reach them, but starting with obviously creating those accounts is the priority, and figuring out who your audience is and who you can follow and reach.
And if you had to pick one platform to try out, which one would you think would be the first one to try?
It depends on the audience. For example, I know that Facebook generally leans toward an audience that's 35 plus generally. So if you're trying to reach an audience that is, young and like very young adult, maybe they're like fresh out of college, then Instagram is probably going to be the space where you're trying to reach them. But if you're trying to reach people who are 35 to 65, then Facebook is going to be a better platform for you.
Hey, Steph, this is Cole from Generator. Question for you. So you mentioned TikTok, and I know that's becoming a bigger and bigger thing, especially with everyone at home. What's been a really interesting, brand activation that you've seen on TikTok so far?
One that I have seen and participated in was done by Paul Mitchell. And if you do not know who Paul Mitchell is, they are a hair product company. So they do shampoos, conditioners, all different kinds of hair products. They did a decades of hair challenge on TikTok. They created the music for it, and they used the hashtag decades of hair. People are using Paul Mitchell products in these videos, but they're sharing different decades of hairstyles, and it's been very interesting to see. I actually did this. It's posted on my Instagram, but I did it just because it was fun and it was engaging. It is one of my most viewed videos to date. So just something that was interesting from a brand perspective. But there are so many amazing brands that are doing really awesome things on there. I just happen to follow fashion and beauty because that's generally the space that I'm in. And so that's been one that's been trending for the last few days.
Okay, here's another question from Eric Young. What about LinkedIn? Do you have any recommendations on using that? What is the audience there?
Yes, I definitely recommend using LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a platform that I have been working to strategize this year. The audience there is definitely more of a professional audience. So that audience for me is where I share. I don't necessarily share as much personal as I do. My brand, I share a lot about my family. I share about my husband and I share about the fact that we have a tent on top of our car that we use to camp. So I share about all of these different things on my Instagram account, leaning into that space of relatability. On Instagram, on LinkedIn, that story shifts a little bit for me. So I'm making sure that I'm using LinkedIn as a space to really educate my audience in terms of what I'm doing. So I'm sharing blog posts that I've created about how to build your brand, about why storytelling is important for your marketing strategy, and those different kinds of spaces. The other thing with LinkedIn is that you want to make sure that you are creating genuine connections with people who could be potential customers for you, or who are within your industry in some way. So I actually have a message that I send out to people that I want to connect with, and I just share a little bit about myself and invite them to respond to me by sharing a little bit about who they are and what they do. So I definitely think that LinkedIn is relevant and important, especially in terms of an education standpoint.
Okay, this one says, what suggestions do you have for how to best learn the Facebook platform?
Great question. So I learned by doing. And I learned by asking others what has worked for them. And I also learned by taking courses or doing some kind of self-education in that capacity. Facebook is a very easy platform to learn how to use. If you just allow yourself to kind of jump on there, create your profile. Obviously, if you're creating a business account, you want to make sure that you have your personal profile first, and then you'll create a business page from there. But you want to make sure that you're setting things up in a way that you're going to actually be able to reach your audience, which is why, let's say you don't have a Facebook business page right now, a Facebook group might be a higher priority for you right now, because Facebook is prioritizing groups in terms of their algorithm and who sees their posts, and they're deprioritizing business pages because they want people to pay for ads. So I would encourage you, if you have not used the Facebook platform, to try a group first to reach your audience. Facebook business pages are really great in terms of reviews, and in terms of if you want to run paid ads. You have to have a business page on Facebook in order to be able to run ads on Instagram or on Facebook. Hopefully that makes sense. But I would say in terms of best use, it's asking people, it's getting on and not being afraid to just kind of figure it out. It's researching, it's Googling. When I have questions, usually Google is the first place that I go. And then from there, I try to see who's in my network that might be able to help me out.
And another nice thing with Facebook, I would add, is that there's lots of good analytics tools built into it. So you can kind of figure out easily what's working and what's not working as far as the ads go. So it does kind of decrease the risk, because you can see a little bit of information about what's going on with your ads that you're running.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I think that's all the questions we have right now. There's one other question, Sonia. Are there any updates to the loans available? I do have some updates there. So to anybody that missed out on Tuesday, the SBA announced that everybody who previously applied for the EIDL loan needs to reapply. So if you have not applied since Tuesday, please, 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 please do this. Everybody who applies for the SBA EIDL loan until they max out will get a $10,000 forgivable loan, aka grant, for your small business. So if you have not applied for that SBA loan, we highly, highly encourage you to do it. Please do it. It's basically $10,000 of free money for your small business. And you are not making a commitment to actually take a greater loan. So once you fill out that application, if you get the $10,000 up to $10,000 forgivable loan, and then you get terms for additional loan from the SBA, you can decline that additional loan and not take it back. So it's basically like $10,000 of free money for your small business. So please apply for that. I see that 67% of you are answering that you did not apply. Please, please, please apply. If you applied before Tuesday, you need to reapply. If you applied on Tuesday or after Tuesday, the 31st, you're good. You don't need to reapply again. So if you did the short, easy version, then you don't need to reapply. For the payroll protection plan, applications for that starts today. Today is the 3rd. So for the payroll protection plan, you need to work with your financial institution, with your bank, to get that payroll protection plan application in. Some banks are doing better at it than others right now. So you can look on the SBA website to find lists of banks that are taking applications, that are working with small businesses on those applications. And again, that you can get up to 2.5 times your monthly payroll. And if you retain your employees after this period, you get that loan forgiven. So again, as long as you're retaining those employees after this period, for the designated amount of time, that loan is forgiven, basically again becoming a grant for up to 2.5 times your monthly payroll. So please schedule an appointment with your banker to get that together. I know a lot of banks don't really have it together yet, so just keep working on it and get that submitted. I've gotten a bunch of questions from people who are sole proprietors. If you're an independent contractor, sole proprietor, or self-employed, you can apply for the payroll protection program, but not until the 10th. So if you fall into one of those buckets, you can still apply for that. Hopefully they'll still have money left on the 10th. And as long as you retain yourself and don't fire yourself, I guess that means just keeping your sole proprietorship open after the period, then you will be able to be forgiven for that as well. So again, this is all stuff that can be forgiven that you don't maybe end up needing to pay back. So we highly recommend that everybody go forward with applying for both of those. As a reminder, every small business is required to provide paid sick leave and emergency family medical leave to all employees, with very few exceptions. So if you're not familiar with those new laws that have passed, you need to get familiar with them. You can listen to our webinar from Tuesday for more information on that if you didn't listen to that. But please make sure that you're familiar with these new laws, because there are penalties if you do not provide the paid sick leave and emergency family medical leave to your employees if you're a small business. So please make sure that you're familiar with all of those things. Those are my updates. If anybody has other questions about that, or if you still need one-on-one help from my team, we're still available. Just shoot us an email and we are happy to talk to you one-on-one. I do see a question about applying and receiving both the payroll protection plan and the EIDL loan. At this time, the guidance is go ahead and apply for both. And then once you get the terms, you can choose which one you want to move forward with. So at this point, the guidance is please apply for both the EIDL and payroll protection program loans. And if you get offers from both of them, then you can decide which one you want to move forward with at that time. You can get the $10,000 cash advance part and the payroll protection plan. So that's where it gets a little bit confusing. Okay, so I am going, oh, here's one more question about that. If you do have to retain your employees after the period of the payroll protection plan to maintain the forgiveness of the loan. You do have to retain them. Nobody knows for how long. So we can't answer that question, but we will definitely keep everybody up to date on that information when we have it. Okay. That's all I have for today. Thank you again, everybody who has logged in throughout this week. If you still need help, please let us know. We're happy to continue to help you. We will also be emailing out some other webinars and other opportunities that are happening next week. So if you still feel like you need to learn more or you want to dial in for additional resources, we will continue to share them as they come through. All right, that's everything. Thanks again, everyone. Have a great weekend, and please let us know if you have any questions.